exist in a shared truth. If we're gonna learn, we gotta glow until we burn. Bootstraps up from the waistband down, lipstick deep, kissing ground. One way in, one way out, an eye on the prize and an eye on the scout. If we're gonna live, we gotta glow until we burn. Take my hand, leave no doubt. Take my hand, we'll find out. We run with all we bring. The starlight shines the ring. I'll hail the reigning king. Unleash the reckoning. Unleash the reckoning. All you've got to give exists in a shared truth. Love, waterfall, turns brittle bones to you. Bootstrapped up from the waistband down, lipstick deep, kissing ground. One way in and one way out, an eye on the prize and an eye on the sky. Take my hand, leave no doubt. Take my hand, and we'll find out. We run with all we bring. The starlight shots will ring. Oh, hail the reigning king. Unleash the reckoning. Oh, rise and meet your fate. Live now, we cannot
Take my heart and leave me, and I'll call you my best friend. Close your eyes and read me, and now I put it into your head. We're living a dream. We're living a dream. We're living a dream. We are molten Galilee.
Hold on for a second. If words can be weapons, then what I say can affect it. They're not just words on a record, and I can choose to respect it or choose to infect it. But once it hits the water, it's too late to be selective. Cause one voice is enough to make sleeping giants wake up, to make armies put their hands up and watch whole nations stand up. It's one belief, one spark, one faith and one restart, and we can reboot the whole chart before it all falls apart. So stand up, shout it out, and put them in the air if you like it loud. We only got one shot, so let's make it count. It's a takedown, nobody can stop us now. Stand up, shout it out, say it loud so the world can't drown us out. And before we depart, let's leave a mark, cause light shines brighter in the dark. When we scream, our lips don't make a sound. We march with feet on solid ground. We walk where no one wants to go on this untraveled road. Road, 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 road. This untraveled road. Road, 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 road. This untraveled road. This untraveled
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASL Team Battle. Tonight, Team Mind, of course, Mind replacing Jadong in this tournament, will take on Team Bisu. And of course, there you can see our first team there. Mind going to be bringing back some maybe crowd favorites there, Wolf.
That they will. Of course, Brittany playing tonight going to be pretty exciting, and Bisu and his team will be their opponents going into this big series we've got coming up. We've had a lot of 3-0s in the ASL team battle. Tonight's lineup may lead us at least to a fourth game based on the matchups we have going into this one. So could be a longer series here. Finally might get to see that outsider map that I know you're so fond of.
Yeah, really looking forward to seeing outsider possibly. Really looking forward to seeing you here beside me, Wolf. Always nice to have at least a more even matchup against the Korean casters. Yesterday it was a 1-on-3, so now we're evening the odds a little bit more, so always good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I haven't cast StarCraft in a long time, actually. I think the last StarCraft event I cast was the Kespa Cup a long, long time ago. And now I'm here casting Brood War, not StarCraft 2, but excited to do it. Obviously, I've followed these players in the history of Brood War for a long time, and excited to see them play in this team battle. I've actually, talk about myself a little bit here. I've cast actually every team league that's happened since I've come to Korea now, including this one, as I'm sitting here casting it now. So I love team leagues. It's kind of been my passion. It's been what I've focused on in StarCraft in the past. So excited to get to do this Brood War team. This is my first time because I didn't cast the Brood War Pro League hybrid, So I started with StarCraft 2 Pro League in my casting. So now I get to do the ASL team battle.
Team battle. All right. Well, it's going to be interesting tonight because not only do we have, the very popular streamer Brittany playing. We had Terror playing yesterday. Brittany's kind of the same idea, but less of a pro player, more of just like an entertainer. Really want to see if he has any like meme builds out there. I don't know.
He might. You never know. Tyson as well, someone we haven't seen too much of in a while, and he hasn't actually proven himself to be like a top-tier player right now, but I think he's the favorite going into this matchup against Brittany. You know?
Which is so weird to say. Also, I can't help but wonder, and I'm sure there's some like obscure invent post on this somewhere about how the players got chosen for each individual team. Because my theory is that Bisu is just like, let me just go to all the old teams and go to the team members that I used to play with back in the day, and then see if they want to play. Because I think Tyson was on NBC game with him. Way back in the day, and he's like, hey, you want to come play back again? They're like, oh, okay, yeah. Because Tyson's just not a player that at least has achieved a lot of individual prowess. He was pretty good in Pro League back when that was around, but since then is definitely not quite on the same level as guys like Bisu, for sure.
I would have to agree. I mean, he was kind of like a B-tier Pro League player. He was never really A or S, but he was definitely one who got fielded a lot, and he was kind of mid-range. You and I were talking about this earlier, but I feel like he was kind of, if you compare to a StarCraft 2 Pro League player, something like Bravo on SKT, you know, someone that would get played fairly often and have mixed results. You never think of him as like, this guy's the killer, but he's reliable on certain maps, certain snipe builds or whatever like that. So it kind of was a nice fill-in player for the Pro League rosters he played on. Of course, being an ex-teammate of Bisu, probably how he ended up being on this team. That's how the rumor goes anyways. As they go into this, and Mind, you know, is a stronger player than I think a lot of people give him credit for. Going into this best of 5, you know, people look at Mind and they go, well, I wish it were Jaedong. What happened to Jaedong? But Mind actually has a long history in Brood War as well. Not a bad Pro League player, and had a few decent runs in individual leagues as well. In fact, defeating Bisu in the 2007 MSL 3-1. So
yikes, that will be exciting to watch. The thing I'm actually really excited to watch is the 2v2 here. It's my favorite part of the team battle. It's a little bit different. It's played on the map Hunters, and tonight we have the same matchup we had yesterday. It's a Terran Zerg versus a Zerg Protoss. So you're always going to really have a Zerg on your team because it's so strong in 2 versus 2. But tonight we have Rush, who is a great aggressive Zerg player, will play very well into that. Mine incredibly smart Terran, but on the other side, you've got Sock, who is role swapping from race swapping. There we go. Gotta get my terms here. So Sock will be changing from Terran to Zerg, and of course Bisu playing that Protoss. Really interesting combination, of course, exciting 2v2s to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you basically got 2 main races on Team Mind side with Russian Mind, and then you've got the race swap for Sock. So definitely it's going to be a weakness there, but Sock gets a stronger race as a result. Another team going to roll random. We've seen a few teams try to get that double Zerg. 69.
Oh boy.
Interesting choices here of numbers. Both teams end up at 69.
Yeah, they're both not bad, Wolf.
No.
It's really interesting the way that they, look at that too, because when it comes to like their actual performances in ASL individually, they've been really great. But then keep in mind you have several players on these teams who have just never played in ASL. So guys like Tyson and Brittany never quite made it in there. So that's going to skew the way that these, what are those, pentagons?
Sure. Important to note, I feel like if you look at both of these graphs, Bisu's team's weak point that you see at the top right is teamwork. So whoever's made these charts, I assume journalists, analysts, and the Korean commentators feel like Team Bisu is kind of thrown together, perhaps not quite the teamwork that we're going to see on the side of Mind's team today. So that's something that I feel like is a big glaring weakness in terms of these Pentagon graphs. We won't know until we see them play today. I think they're probably going to do just fine, though, to be honest. These graphs, 69-69, not bad. I feel like doesn't sound like it's good. Well, these are 2 really strong teams, and Mind, again, I feel a suitable replacement for Jaedong, but shouldn't be disappointed.
Yeah, you can tell that Artosis is not casting today because we're talking at some point about a player that's not Mind, which is, of course, one of his favorites. Now, speaking of favorites, this player is Brittany. He's a Protoss player.
He's not the favorite, though.
And while he has no stats here, like you said, he's not the favorite to win, but he is by far the crowd favorite here. He is one of, if not the most popular Brood War streamer on Afrika, and if he were not playing here today, he'd probably be streaming the Afrika matches on his stream. And in fact, yesterday, he was actually kind of memeing on Terror, who was also a very popular BJ with Flash, and really criticizing some of the hilarious things that happened in his game yesterday.
Well, Brittany basically paved the road for Brood War streaming on Afrika. He was kind of the guy doing it before it was cool, and he had massive success. He actually leads viewership and also restreams like the ASL matches, casts it, talks about it, and stuff like that. His opponent, Tyson, here, again, we talked about how this guy is not an insanely great player, not a very accomplished player, but in terms of recent results and overall skill level, most people would consider him the favorite in terms of who's going to win it, right? A lot of people want that upset Brittany win, and Brittany's no slouch, right? But Tyson is the stronger player here. He's played a lot of tournaments, had, you know, some decent Pro League results, as I was saying. He's about 50-50 in most of his Pro League games. Even playing in that hybrid season, going about, you know, 4-5 in the 2011-2012 Pro League, played a lot of online cups in the post-Kespa era. So this guy is not really a slouch. He's played more recent professional matches, whereas his opponent, Brittany, is mostly just a streamer, where he got fame from his good Brood War play. I mean, he's an ex-Height Sparkies rookie. He was on Height Sparkies in 2009. That's where, you know, he got known, but he wasn't known for his tournament results or his crazy Pro League plays. He just got famous from being a funny personality and streaming high-level Brood War play.
All right, well, here we go. We're going to do our first match of the night, Brittany versus Tyson, to start off this ASL team battle. All right, well, we did have crowd cheers, I promise you guys. Let's go ahead and get this started off on Fighting Spirit. It's going to be a Protoss down here in the bottom left-hand corner in the pink, and that is Brittany.
That he is. And of course, his opponent to the bottom right in brown will be Tyson. So we're going to have close spawns here, horizontally at the bottom of this map. It's always exciting to see the matchup between you know, someone who's very well known, very respected, very liked, against the guy who, you know, for Tyson in this matchup, going this, there's probably a lot of pride on the line to go, okay, you know, no one's really rooting for me here, and I've never really proven myself as a top-tier player. I've played in team leagues before. I've played way more than Brittany has on televised matches. You know, I've been on the big Pro League stage, but you know, everyone kind of wants him to win, but I'm better, and I have to prove that in this best of one. It's there's some extra pressure there, I feel, that comes with that.
Yeah, and actually also interesting to see, you know, now that Brood War is kind of starting to come back, there's more leagues. ASL is doing incredibly well. We've got this team battle here. Players that, you know, may not have been able to make a name for themselves, you know, way back in the day, now get another chance to come out and prove themselves, show their skills, and we'll see exactly what is going on here. Now, both players know it's PvP, so starting off with exactly the same build here. Gateway on, I'm guessing that was 10?
Yeah, it looks like pretty normal gateway timings here. The big Protoss versus Protoss question is whether it's going to be, you know, a one-base, you know, aggressive play via gateways or Reaver opening or a faster expansion. That kind of ends up being the clash, generally speaking. You sometimes do see the crazy tech build into like DTs, which can catch someone off guard who's gone the opposite tech route or have gone into a more of a gateway-heavy play and get blind counter that way, just like StarCraft 2.
Well, you know, it's just like StarCraft 2 in that they, you know, you know, DTs function the same way. In Brood War, you can actually get DTs super quickly, so always something that you will have to watch out for. However, most likely, at least what I've seen a lot in PvPs, just from like watching fish games and stuff, is just going early gateways into, you know, Reaver pressure, and then it's all about who has the better shuttle micro and how who prayed to the Scarab gods the most.
Sure. Meanwhile, date night at the ASL team battle. That's what you got to do on Sunday night. It's the right way to spend it. I'm glad I get to spend it here with you, Rapid. You'll be my ASL team battle date.
I didn't make you a heart-shaped fan sign, though, Wolf.
I know, but no one can tell. But we are holding hands underneath the underneath the casting desk. So yeah, it's definitely about the micro once the game stabilizes. There can be huge edges if there's a big build variation. We're going to see a little bit of aggression here from Tyson, saying this Zealot across the map too. Just come over and try to get a little bit more scouting information if his probe goes down. And he's going to get a second gate here as well, so he's just rallying Zealots across. We'll see the Cybernetics Core, of course, researching that Dragoon range.
Yeah, so these two gates is actually going to put on a little bit of pressure here because, I mean, while Dragoons are, in fact, pretty good at kiting Zealots there, Zealots do... okay, so there's a probe here along with it. 2 Zealot hits and a probe hit will actually kill a probe or kill a worker, so you do need to get those... or that's why the probe is there to help out a little bit. You can see the probe actually body blocking that Dragoon and allowing this Zealot to try to path away. He's going to go back in and try to get these drone or probe kills.
Yeah, trying to get that gas pro. Unfortunately, not able to find a single kill yet. Great micro here, actually, from Brittany, not losing a single worker. And this is...
You actually noticed that he killed out the probe because he knew he had a pylon block on the other side. So good targeting there, and he will actually wind up not... I don't think he lost a single probe.
No, he did not. And this was a solid defense. You know, this is something that you'll do oftentimes on a map where you have this short rush distance like this, where you feel like you just want to say, I'm better than my opponent, I'm going to out-micro them, and I'll trade 100 minerals for perhaps 100 in probes and lost mining time. This wasn't very successful, but he did get a good scout, here on the Cybernetics core and the late gateway here. And there's going to be a robotics facility coming out here for Brittany. So this 2 gates can parlay into just a faster expansion, as he's going to move these units out here to deny any sort of scouting. And you can see the move out here counterwise from Brittany. They're going to meet in the middle of the map. An extra Dragoon here for Tyson, of course, as he did have the faster second gateway. Despite losing that Zealot. So he wants the pressure because he knows he lost that Zealot.
Oh, no, this is really bad. Yeah, extra hits on that Dragoon. If that Dragoon goes down, even just taking that damage means that there's no possible way that Brittany can fight this. Like you said, slower Gateway Wolf, and now actually does need to target down that weakened Dragoon. Actually huge. Actually, look at that micro by Tyson. He actually saves his weakened Dragoon, so he gets an extra shot off, and he's actually getting Zealot hits on Dragoons, which is never something to happen. He's actually going to wrap around behind this Dragoon, trying to kite around there, but great control by Brittany.
Okay, Brittany will save. That was actually really well done by Brittany. This could have been a much worse scenario for him there, kind of getting out of there, and will actually hurt this Zealot as he gets away. Ends up being obviously a better trade for Tyson. He doesn't actually expand, and back at home, it looks like he's probably going to continue to tech up. Yeah, there's his robot facility. We didn't see a shot of it yet. So it's just going to be 1 base versus 1 base. He has this control over the natural currently, though. Which is going to be really nice for him. He has the knowledge that Brittany is not expanding, whereas Brittany doesn't know because he doesn't have, observatory. He doesn't have any scout, whether or not Tyson's just expanding behind this or teching.
All right, now there is an observatory coming up next. Actually, that's really interesting. So the difference between these builds is that Brittany will actually have faster Reavers coming out here, whereas the Observatory not only protects Tyson from any Dark Templar rushes or anything like that, but it also just gives him more information for the rest, pretty much the rest of the game. Sniping that scouting probe means that Brittany just really has no idea what's coming his way on the map.
No. And
where's that probe going?
He may just be looking for a hidden Reaver drop, or he may actually try to hide a base. I guess it's probably one of the two at this stage, as he's going to have an observer here soon, and maybe just be trying to make a base, but
I'm guessing that is going to...
Yeah,
okay, no, he's
scouting, it looks like.
Yeah.
So it's because sometimes you will get proxied, and it's an issue, right? You have Reavers coming from an angle you don't expect, and they get in your mineral line, and also would give him a lot of information about what's happening here. He's just going to scout and try to take the safer stance here, kind of control Brittany, as Brittany does launch this first Reaver into the shuttle. He's starting to get an idea of what's happening. I believe the observer is about to pass through. It's going over the mineral line right now, and we'll see this shuttle. Oop, maybe just barely not.
Oh my God, did he not see that?
I don't think he saw that.
Oh my God, this could actually be insanely bad. There's actually just no defensive units here in the back part of Tyson's base, so that's going to allow Brittany's shuttle to just have a free trip in there. Kudos to Tyson for getting out there with not only an observer but also a scouting probe, but here comes Brittany's shuttle.
This is actually when everything goes wrong, when you actually try every way to scout what your opponent's doing. You still don't know. Here comes that Reaver.
No.
Okay, he knows now. He's going to send them back. Oh, this Scarab does not hit the probes, only hit a Dragoon here. And actually this wall here is making it tough, but he will connect. Oh boy, this is going to be a lot.
Oh my God, that was really bad, Scarab. And now he actually is trying to target a single Dragoon. He's actually going to focus down the shuttle, and that means that this Reaver will die. He's got a couple of Zealots that he dropped off at the same time, but even those are just going to die there. If he catches that Dragoon correctly, then yeah, Zealots dying, shuttle, Reaver, everything not alive, Wolf.
No. Well, I mean,
they were alive, and now they're not
shakes
anymore.
his head. I feel like that could have been great. The Reaver hit was a miss, though. And, I mean, the probes, there was a quick pull. As soon as he knew what was happening, brought the Dragoons back in. The Zealots didn't really clean up too many kills, if they got any at all. I mean, it was very minimal damage. And Tyson still has the control over the ramp right now. He's got his own Reaver, which is going to just slowly, I don't even know what to call that.
That's a little Reaver that could.
Yeah. Slowly moves across to the natural, at least. And this is kind of a game of chicken, of course, for who's going to take the expansion first with just incredible amounts of Dragoons on either side. Even the investment in the Nexus alone could cause you to lose control. Breaking down the ramp will be difficult for Brittany, though, so I imagine Tyson will just continue to hold this point and eventually take that Nexus coming up fairly soon.
Yeah, I mean, Tyson's in a great spot. He's got control of Brittany's natural. He's starting to maybe work down towards his own natural, maybe start up a base there if he so chooses. Also, should be noted that due to the rotational symmetry of the map, Tyson's natural is much better to take because it's farther away from his opponent, whereas if Brittany expands to his natural, it's closer to Tyson, so that makes it more vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good point. And that's just kind of how StarCraft works, and sometimes life's not fair, and things like this happen. And he's just got this aggressive position. Part of that is why, okay, he's going to try to break down the ramp now with a few of these Dragoons. He's going to drop the Reaver as well.
His Reaver's not firing. Did he forget to build Scarabs? Oh
did.
my God!
I think he forgot to build Scarabs.
That's so bad.
Look at the face of Tyson as well. He just smirks like, I don't know what this guy's trying, but it certainly didn't work.
That's going to be the new Keen gif, man. Where he just like smirks, or like I guess Piglet gif too.
I mean, that's the face of a man who knows, okay, you done goofed.
Yeah,
okay?
you done goofed. Thank you for PG-13ing your commentary there, Wolf.
You basically take the risky engage down the ramp into a concave, which is always going to be a problem anyways. It's never going to be efficient. You drop the Reaver in an aggressive position. It doesn't have
just
Scarabs.
Doesn't do anything. Yeah, so in case you guys are, maybe this is your first time watching Brood War, for Reavers, you have to build the Scarabs. They're like they're like ground interceptors, basically, and carriers. So you have to build them first. If you don't do it, they just kind of sit there as big expensive 200 gas units.
I mean, it's possible he was move commanding it or something, and it did have. I mean, we'll never know, but it just seemed like it didn't have Scarabs. I mean, it certainly would have fired otherwise, right? So either way, man, this is a big loss for Brittany. As he's now kind of stuck on one base. Tyson's got his Nexus up. He's going to go for another drop. There were Dragoons to spot for this, but actually this time it's going to be a speed shuttle and will be undetected for the time being. As, Tyson also has a drop set up, but he hasn't used it yet.
Okay, well, look at this perfect positioning there. Now Brittany's Observer, oh no, running right into one of Tyson's, and now sending that shuttle away.
At least he knows this is not going to be a good place to drop, so I guess he's got that consolation. He's not going to waste the shuttle. This is obviously going to become a worse situation for Brittany the longer this goes on, and I suppose he's just going to try to go for one big bust out and win an efficient trade. Okay, here comes the Zealot dropping over here to kind of relieve some of the pressure. He wants to get an idea of perhaps what if he could get an angle or elevator out. It's going to be so difficult to break this, though. I mean nigh impossible.
Yeah, this is just way too much. Okay, let's try number 2. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me. Well, it's actually shame on him both times. We'll see if the Reaver has. No,
oh
my
no,
God!
He doesn't even drop it.
Not again.
Man.
No, not like this.
Oh man, and look at these Dragoons trying to funnel down into this concave here.
No.
Oh, the Manor Nexus as well. Manor Nexus at the natural. At least he shuts down the Reaver drop in his main, but this game is over rapid. And now we can just go up here.
With the sickest VM. Oh my God, these not just the player, the play is just looking so good. Brittany was trying to fight Dragoon's 2 worst enemies. A, more Dragoons, and B, the ramp that they were trying to come down. And now they're still trying to make it happen here. Brittany just going for an attempt at maybe just killing this Manor Nexus.
He knows this is over. Won't be able to break out here. This is real. We're watching this. I love Tyson's face.
Is it a second Manor Nexus?
Yes, he's got 2 Manor Nexus. I'm going to type out here. This will be the GG. There it is. GG. And Tyson will take a very convincing game number 1 here for Team Mind, or excuse me, for Team Bisu.
You can see Tyson's face. He just looks over and Brittany's like, okay, well that was the thing that indeed did in fact happen. We were all here to witness this, so that's how you guys know you're in the right place watching.
Sure. I mean, we witnessed history here. At the ASL team battle.
I can almost promise you that has never happened before in the history of Brood War.
Well, I mean, here's how Tyson's got to be feeling right now. I talked about it before. Imagine, in terms of who you are, you're a good Protoss player. You were destined for greater things than what you've ever done in your career. You stuck with Brood War. You kept playing the game when no one else was playing. And now in this resurgence, you're like, no, I've been practicing while you've been making that streamer money, and I'm gonna take you out here. And he outclassed him. Now, I have to give Brittany credit. His Zealot defense at the beginning of the game was really good, really well controlled. His Scarabs were blocked by the building wall, and that was a bit unlucky there.
Right.
Got shut down. When he just made a few mechanical errors that caused him to lose the game, but overall, you know, he didn't play a terrible game. It just went wrong for him when he had 2 failed attempts to break the ramp, which is just so difficult to do. I mean, any top-tier player would have a tough time with that.
All right, well, next up, we've got our 2-team captains, Mind taking on Jisoo. The ASL team battle returns after a short commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
저런 냄새가 담배당 된장찌개 저런 냄새가.
하면 뭐다? 너 냄새 난다고.
베브리즈 맨으로 남자 5대 냄새 파괴. 베브리즈 맨.
마음이 가는 대로 즐겁고 신나게 쓰자. 캠퍼스 시리즈.
김대리 커피.
예.
어이, 야, 어깨 좀 졸라봐.
지키건 지키자.
겨울 가장 지키고 싶은 RPG 수호삼국지.
들어보면서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASL team battle. We're coming back after a somewhat wacky game number 1 in which Tyson was, in fact, able to take out Brittany, who might need to, work on that shuttle reaver micro a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, he didn't get many probe kills, if any at all, and then didn't save his shuttle. You kind of in a situation like that, you either save the shuttle or you save. You try to save the Reaver, but if you can't save it, you just lose the shuttle. You try to get as many kills and sack the Reaver. You never really get no kills and lose the Reaver and lose the shuttle.
And then you do that 2 more times in succession. All right, so it does look like I believe we have a surprise guest. So it looks like we might be putting him on screen there in a second.
Yeah, JD, man, he's down in the
It's
studio.
good to see him. And one of the reasons that Jaedong did come down is because originally Jaedong was supposed to, they gave teams to the top 8 finishing players in ASL Season 2. And one of those was Jaedong, but unfortunately he's got wrist injuries. So big fan of Jaedong for coming down to the studio. And so in place of Jaedong, Mind was actually chosen to take over his group as the next highest finishing player below Jaedong. But at least he's here to cheer on his team.
That's right. That's what you got to do. It was a narrow loss there. Against Flash. You and I were both here watching it live. I remember it was really exciting. So we're going to have an interview with him.
All right, so saying, Jaedong, do you have any words for your fans? So he's saying, yeah, I actually injured my wrist, so unfortunately I was unable to play in this team battle. But for the next ASL season, I will be ready to go, and so I'm taking a break to be able to show a better performance there. And so mine is taking over my position here. So do you have any special words for the players you're supporting now? Says, yeah, mine, since you're playing, since you're filling my position, I hope you're playing well tonight. So how did you, what did you think of watching the first few matches, or the first match?
Speechless, just like we are.
Yeah, pretty much.
He said it's hard to say.
Yeah. It's like, well, yes, I bet it is hard to say, Jaedong. He's desperately trying to think of a way to spin this. So Brittany knows. He says, yeah, it was very entertaining games to watch.
That it definitely was.
Lots of fighting. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up our interview, and it does look like we are ready to go with our next matchup. This is going to pit our team captains against each other, starting off with Mind.
Mind is very, very underrated. This guy defeated Bisu himself actually in the 2007 GomTV MSL 3-1. That was his, highest performing title since won a Hungry App, new contemporary post-Kespa tournament as well, and he's been through multiple Pro League teams. He was on Yume Fox, originally a team that didn't make it to the end of Brood War, then moved into KT Rolster with other top-tier players. Now, he was never as successful as Bisu, but he's very famous in Korea. He's actually one of the most famous intros for the in-crew at OSL. And he's got a big personality, big popular player here, but not as popular as this guy who is, I feel like Bisu is just the K-pop star of Brood War. He's the Solaris Terrell. He's the Flower Knight that looks handsome but will destroy you in combat. Okay, and he's got multiple titles. He's won 15 Premier titles in his career. Okay, he did lose to Mind in that one series, but this guy has basically won since maybe the second era of Brood War, past the Nalra first era of Brood War. He's basically won tournaments in all 3 eras, the early Kespa era, the strong Kespa era, and the post-Kespa era. He has titles in all 3 eras, and he's still playing the game at the highest level. And, he's never stepped away from the game. He played StarCraft 2 for a minuscule period of time.
I was really excited, and then I was like, wait, no, he's not actually playing this. Because it turns out streaming on Freaka is actually super popular. That's what this guy does now, and now we're about to watch him face off against Mine in our second match of the night here. Tonight's ASL team battle. All right, I think that was at least Brittany cheering for his, I guess, team captain Mind, who will be the blue Terran player, starting off on the lower left-hand side of Blue Storm.
His opponent, the one, the only Bisu, will be cross-spawn here in purple. And
okay, so this is actually really cool. I have not. The only games I've ever cast on Blue Storm are the 3 previous ones in this team battle. So I'm still getting used to the map a little bit. Blue Storm was one of the, I think, default maps shipped with Brood War. But this is version 1.2, so a few things have been changed, like some of the pathing through the middle, and the unbuildability of the ravine in the middle of the map, too.
Yeah, this is one of the maps, actually, when I was a kid. I really liked... Oh, we're going to have a forward pylon here.
Okay.
I like this map because it was overall very simple, and I was learning the game. And none of my friends wanted to play on official Blizzard maps. They all wanted to play on fastest map and zero clutter and things like that. But I love this map, and we're going to see this forward pylon here. We'll see what he wants to do with it. At least one gateway will go down, of course.
Now, rushing Terrans as a Protoss is actually really interesting because one of the things that Terrans have adapted to do here is build a supply depot right next to their barracks and then micro the Marines right between it and the barracks. And Zealots can't fit through there, but Marines can because they're technically a tinier unit by just like a super teeny tiny bit. I don't know how you like rate unit size, but somehow some things fit somewhere and others don't. So here comes this probe, and oh, nice, building the gas there right on time to prevent that gas steal from coming through.
Yeah, that was a really close call there. Perhaps he didn't quite have enough minerals for the assimilator, but Mind is on point here. And yeah, that spot where the Marine's going to fit in right there between the barracks and the CC is going to be where he's going to have to defend this. And he's coming to see the God Bisu. And he says he thinks Dabang is awesome. They're a sponsor for our tournament here. Now, this,
how much did they pay you to put that on your fan sign?
I love Dabang. Actually, you know,
that is the app that I use to get my apartment.
Yeah, one of my friends just used it to get his too, and you know, before this was even announced. I'm not lying to you guys. Yeah, this probe is just trying to have as many shields as possible here. First Marine is on the way. Now, this is really just going to be about micro. He's already preemptively positioned these buildings in order to, worst case scenario, be ready to defend against something like this. Of course, he doesn't know, but this probe harass here is pretty standard, pretty normal. We're going to see Bisu transition. This is not going to end the game by any means. The factory goes up. Here's the first Marine. Now, he doesn't want to stick that Marine out too far, but here's the depot. He's going to be able to micro this around. The probe's going to come back here. And if Mind makes a mistake, this could get nasty, but he should be okay. We'll see how much damage this gets done. Ooh,
okay,
that's rough.
Yeah, so one of the random things is the pathing of the SCVs on the buildings that they're building. So sometimes you can use that to take as many hits and then retreat, like you just saw that SCV do right there. He was glitching through the depot on his retreat, and same thing there. But you cannot let your Marines take too many hits. But great building positioning here on the factory and the 2 depots, which will allow these Marines to stay pretty much perfectly safe.
Yeah, they're going to hit that small spot. Ooh, needs to target the top Zealot here if he wants to take it down. Looks like he's going to do just that. Nice micro here by Mind. And this is the kind of thing that this rush is designed to do damage, but not a massive amount. And if you're this good at microing, it makes the Protoss feel bad for even trying it because it's just so difficult to pull off. We're going to see counterwise this SCV is going to be a little bit harassed because Mind's just so good at multitasking. But this is basically the end. At this point, he doesn't even need the building wall to really micro against this 100%, especially with that weakened Zealot. He's going to move the weakened Zealot to the back, though. And yeah, this is basically the end of this. Bisu wants to save his Zealots. He's going to back off here.
Now, things like that gas deal, which we saw Bisu attempt but fail at, or maybe not fail, but Mind was able to counteract that by building the refinery. Two things here. So that's designed to limit the Terran's early gas and maybe make it more difficult for him to go into very gas-intensive mech play, which is usually what you want to do against Protoss. Another thing that will do that is this early rush, which forces out a lot more early Marines than you would normally expect to build, versus Protoss. So this is actually really interesting. Does he have 6 Marines? No, he's actually got 7. I think he might have had 8 if one's back in the base. But yeah, so more Marines than maybe you would expect. And so this will be a relatively interesting push to see how successful it is. Because you also, you don't get vision up ramps. You do have to walk up the ramp before you see what is up there. So Mind really doesn't have much of a way of knowing what's up those ramps unless, yeah, there it is, the barracks.
He moves the barracks up, and Bisu's actually going to try to hard engage this. Remember, one of his Zealots is very low. Great target here for Mind. He takes it out immediately. The second one's going to go down here too, and this is actually going to be a pretty nice hold here from Mind. Without Siege Mode, he doesn't even need it. That one Dragoon will escape with 15 hit points here. He didn't have Siege Mode yet. He's about to. Singularity Charge should be done by now. And he's going to maybe be able to kite a little bit here, but the Siege Tank makes this a little bit tough.
Yeah, Singularity charged the Dragoon range upgrade to make them great at kiting away. Oh my god, the no micro there on that SCV. But a couple of things are starting to happen. One, Vultures are coming out with mines, and this is really where Mines starts to kind of power up. He's got his base totally the way that he wants it. It's very defensive against that early rush. And now he'll be able to stop that gateway from producing anymore and really just take control of his side of Blue Storm.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to be any more aggressive than he already is here. This Vulture is going to go make sure that Bisu has a Nexus. That's what he's going to try to do here. Bisu's got the Dragoon position to try to block this, but he may be able to sneak by. I don't think he has the speed upgrade yet, but he's going to... No, actually going to try to attempt to get by there. But either way, he doesn't want to be aggressive here because he knows he has an economic lead with how much Bisu committed to that early gateway in the middle of the map and that big push. So Bisu does have a Nexus coming up, of course, but as you said, Mine now has the map control. He has mines on the map, which are going to give him some extra vision.
Mines.
And now that, yeah, mine. And now that he's got that, he can, of course, research siege mode to be more safe.
Oh, wow. Mine does connect, actually, and that means this tank coming up there, if it targets the right Dragoons, could actually do a great job at killing this off. Great, pinch there on those Dragoons up against the wall, and with these now Vulture speed upgraded, it does mean that Mind will be able to chase back these forces of Bisu.
Yeah, he's actually very lucky, Bisu, is that he didn't trigger that mine as well. The Spider Mine would have made this an even worse situation, potentially. Would have had to either target or lose even more health. And look at this. Mine is actually going to try to cut these Dragoons off, it looks like. On the middle of the map, you can see he's moving across to try to catch them. I don't think he'll be able to. And he might actually finally start to put some real pressure on.
Now, unless it's positioned directly over that army for Bisu, I don't see any observers out on the map, and moving around the map against a Terran that has spider mines with no observers is actually just insanely risky, because if you just take that one mine hit, okay, well, that time it was good because he got some friendly fire damage on that, but either way, like you see there, wow, really bad control there by Bisu, taking so many mine hits already.
It's just, like you said, it's a big liability. When you don't have an observer. He went straight into the robotic support base, so he's going to have Reavers out here fairly soon. That's what the trade-off is not having observatory. Now this base is kind of up for grabs here. Mind is going to come in. Probes are already fighting, but he's got so much kite ability here with these Vultures, and they're going to kill several of these probes. This is a horrible situation for Bisu.
Yeah, this is actually just so bad. You lose that many early probes, and decent Vulture micro there as well to be able to get in there to a very undefended natural, take out several probes, and now this is just a big advantage for Mind.
There's that observatory.
Yeah, finally, that is way late, because you definitely need to be able to get either flanks on this Terran army, and in order to prevent that, Terrans just put a bunch of mines on their flanks, and now more Vultures streaming into this unprotected natural.
Don't forget, he had his CC up first, so he's been mining for a while. In trading Vultures, they're very cheap units. They're very quick. Trading Vultures for probes like this is absolutely what Mind wants to do. He has full map control right now. He's got turrets up for the event of a drop, which is now heading across the map here. And it's not like necessarily incorrect that Bisu skipped the observatory. It just cost him big there, as you were saying. And we'll see this drop as well. It goes straight over the Vultures. Perhaps a mistake here to fly that in when he knew those were there.
Yeah, I thought he might have like a Zealot in it, but no, he is just going to run right into a turret and back off again. Loses the pylon. That gateway will probably never be used again. It's going to be the loneliest gateway. Okay, he's actually going to kill it off.
He's going to clear it for vision purposes. And, oh, the Reaver drops out. He wants to actually engage a little bit here. Good pick up there.
Yeah, currently nothing that shoots up for mines, so at least that's going to make this very slow shuttle a little bit safer.
That's part of the reason why Reaver drops are so strong versus Terran is you don't really want to be building Goliaths at this stage. You just don't really need them. You get one here to help push that away. It's like a mobile turret. And these Vultures still marauding around the map trying to deny expansions. There's the Ion Thruster upgrades. Super zipping around now. Going past these Dragoons. Getting even into the main base now. It's going to mine up these gateways. Anything that spawns here might just be obliterated right away. See the pylon wall going up, but it's not enough.
Oh no, it's a massacre. The probe genocide. This is karmic justice for every game that has been won merely through probe micro, which it feels like is far too many. Those units are so annoying. All right, well, we still have yet to really see Bisu's Reaver really get the job done. Unsieged tanks almost getting taken down. Does need to target that correctly. Loses their goon, but takes down a tank.
It looks like it's an okay trade, I suppose. gets this target off on this one of mine. Here comes the Observer. Going to clear this up. Finally, that probe was killed earlier by those speed vultures. And so he wasn't able to get that third base when he wanted to, but he does have it now. And, you know, it's interesting how Protoss kind of plays against mech, almost like Zerg, you know, does in StarCraft 2, where you kind of try to swarm and overwhelm. So you need to have more bases, you need to have more units. And he didn't do very well with his early aggression. Then he went into a super aggressive tech. So he doesn't have that many gateway units on the map right now. And that's a problem because Mind has a large army now, a large mech army. He's powering up on all these factories.
Oh, wow. Going up to 4 factories, I think I saw there. So also +1/+1 done there. Actually, I think it's just +1 weapons there for mech. They are continuing to push out against no upgrades on any of Bisu's forces.
Yeah, I mean, Bisu just doesn't have a whole lot. You know, he went into this Reaver, which is super expensive, takes a long time. He's going to clear off this Observer, which is nice. But it's going to be tough to hold on to this third base with this slow push coming across. He needs to buy time with this Reaver and this small Dragoon force to eventually get the money from that third base to power up a Gateway army to defend it. If he can do that, he could turn this game around.
Now, a lot of times, like you said, Wolf, Protoss wants to be like Zerg and start expanding, but on Blue Storm, because you can't fit big units through that tiny choke at the natural, you have to figure out another way of getting in there. Now, the Nexus is siegeable from outside, so that's what Mind is going to start to do, but you actually have to go up a little bit to make it through that tiny choke point if you do want to make, if that is going to be your point of egress. Great Reaver shots, already taking out these tanks, and will escape alive. Just barely with that shuttle.
+1 Goliaths nearly take it out. It escapes with 4 hit points here. This is going to be an awkward angle here for these vultures, but the siege tanks do siege up and push the Dragoons away as he just continues to mine this up. There is an Observer. Unfortunately, he didn't catch that one with the scan. You know, Bisu hangs on here, and he takes a fairly decent trade there. This just can't continue to happen, though, as he's losing control of that choke point. If he gets even a little bit further ahead into that choke point, then Bisu won't be able to reinforce this army.
Well, moving a little bit far forward there with those Dragoons, taking quite a few tank shots, and even, okay, nice target there on the mine. Bisu, very important to keep that position up on that double ramp up on the side, because it's protecting his third base, which he just got mining, which is really the big advantage that he has right now over Mind.
Yeah, that's all he's really got, you know, and he's getting, the longer this goes on, the better.
He's building a missile turret inside Bisu's base.
It's a cheap way for him to get to maintain vision over the wall here, and you know, it's also going to be a detector, which will stop observers, but that's just an added bonus. Looks like he's just going to pick off zealots that harass it. Oh man, he's going to commit to this Reaver, and it's going to get blown up immediately. So will the shuttle that was damaged from earlier.
Yikes.
And this is almost like, he's almost at the point of no return, Bisu, if he allows these units to get any further up. Again, the SCV is going to come in here and probably just build another missile turret to continue vision. Okay, he's going to try to come over here and clean up these spider mines.
Yeah, but I mean, it's in tank range as well, so he just really will not be able to push in there. You always want your zealots in front of your Dragoons to tank those tank hits and be a real threat to the tanks to get on top of them, but he's just losing way too much. And even though the zealots did eventually make it on top of these tanks, I think the vultures will be able to save them, and indeed they do.
This was just a very expensive exchange that was an unsuccessful attempt to break this position. And now, I mean, he's able to push even further with even adding all these extra Goliaths for a little bit of extra DPS. And this is looking pretty bad for Bisu. Holding on to this third base is going to be a real task here.
Almost a really devastating mind drag there by that one zealot, pulling it all the way in there.
He just types out, GG.
And yeah, Bisu just cannot deal with this push into his third base. If that had gotten shut down, then he just would not have been able to keep up. Mind taking out Bisu.
And this is not a shocking upset or anything like that, but it is, I feel like, kind of an upset, you know? It's not like the craziest thing that have ever happened, but I feel like this is really cool for Mind because there's a lot of pressure on him as he's stepping in for Jaedong, as Jaedong's got his wrist injuries. He's able to take out a Titan in Bisu, the former SKT player. And, you know, Bisu is a team league god. I talked about most of his individual results earlier, but he's actually an incredible Pro League player, one of the aces for SKT, often in Pro League finals even.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is just a best of one, but a nice win here for Mind. Just controlled the map early, really shut down that aggression.
Yeah, great control there, perfect building positioning, stayed alive, and then was able to take out Bisu there in the end. And that's going to set us up for one of my favorite parts of this team battle, Wolf, and that will be coming up, our 2 versus 2 map on Hunters.
That is going to be an exciting one for sure, as you see plans already being made here.
deviously, what is it, scheming, I guess?
Scheming. It's time for the scheming.
Well, there's a lot of things that can change, even though the best laid plans of, what is it, mice and men? I don't know how that analogy works. But when you do spawn on hunters, your spawn locations can really change things up. If you're playing random, then that can be a big factor. But it's going to be Zerg Terran versus Zerg Protoss as we get into our 2v2 map coming up next in the ASL Team Battle.
이사 준비! 부터! 야, 장이 몇 개고 이게? 우와. 야, 이거 트랜스포 아니에요? 여기 뭐 장롱이에요? 우와. 여기 침대가 있어? 와, 이거 진짜 좋은 것 같아, 이거는. 바르셀로나 메시. 다 됐네. 보자. 나 근데 이거 날 자리가 없네. 이 연예대상을 빼고 이걸 줄 수도 없고. 그래도 영광인데 이게 하나는. 피규어 때문에 이사를 가야 되거든. 정훈아.
예.
야, 니 이번에 이사했다며?
예, 이번에 이사했어요.
근데 니 뭐 부동산 알아봤나?
요즘 누가 부동산에서 집을 알아봐요. 어플이 있는데.
미안해. 옛날 사람이어서.
네.
이거 어플로 보고 바로 몇 군데 보고 가면 되구나. 야, 이거 다방면 스코어 이건 뭐야? 야, 이게 63점이네. 교통, 관리비, 옵션, 편의시설이 좋은데 가격이 너무 세다. 오, 76점. 여기 피규어를 넣을 수 있는 수납장이 있네. 약간 높은 이유가 있는 것 같아, 확실히. 와, 이거 바로 전화도 되네. 여보세요? 방이 있습니까, 지금? 예. 그러면 좀 이따 갈게, 예. 예. 일단, 그럼 준비를 하고. 바르셀로나! 이사 준비! 투터! 너 여기 좀 대기하고 있고. 이사를 해야 돼. 여긴가? 야, 이거 뭐 공인중개사처럼 안 돼 있네? 안녕하세요.
네.
예, 안녕하세요.
네, 개그맨 반갑습니다.
예,
어떻게 오셨어요?
제가 방 좀 보려고. 아까 그 전화했던 올세브로.
앉으세요.
네.
예. 일단은 그 양상우 씨는 어떤 방을 좀 찾고 계신가요?
저는 좀 수납 공간이라 또 주차는 또 확실히 좀 돼야 돼요.
알겠습니다.
그리고 막 아는 여자 동생들이 놀랐을 때 오빠는 너무 좋다 이렇게 할 정도의 라면만 먹고 안 갈 수 있는 그런.
알겠습니다. 그러면 그럴 만한 지금 적합한 방들을 저희가 좀 준비해서 보여드리겠습니다.
여기서 바로 보나요?
네.
진짜 좋네요.
그래서 수납방들이 충분한 이런 공간이니까. 요즘에는 또 360도 카메라로 그 방의 공간을 좀 활용을 할 수 있고요.
VR.
실제로 어떻게 구조가 됐는지 확인할 수 있는 시스템입니다. 그러면 우리 같이 방을 한번 보러 갈까요?
예, 알겠습니다.
네, 사실상 위치만 강남이지 그 많은 지방분들이 이제 방을 많이 문의를 주세요.
네.
방을 처음 구하는 분들이 대부분이다 보니까 좀 몇 가지 좀 유의하셔야 될 것들이 있더라고요.
그럼
네.
좋은 팁이네.
네, 그렇죠.
뭐예요?
네, 특히 여자분들 같은 경우는 치안, 안전, 보안,
혹시나 치안을 좀 많이 걱정하시는 미모 여성분이 계시면 이제 내가 이번에 집을 장만하면 그 옆집으로 여기는 정말 안전한 개그맨 양상국 씨가 산다. 네? 혹시라도 칙칙한 남자애들 오면 연락도 하지 말고 내 얘기도 꺼내지도 마라.
반갑습니다.
야, 이거 주차장이 넓어서 좋네요. 일단 주차장 통과!
계실 이제 집 말고도 이제 지하에 계절 창고가 따로 있어요. 집에 있는 공간을 좀 이제 줄이실 수가 있을 거예요.
그러니까 잔짐 보관하는
그렇죠.
느낌이네요.
네, 이제 방을 보러 가실까요?
예, 가시죠.
들어가서 보실게요.
예.
네. 일단은 깔끔하실 거고요. 실제로 이제 세입자가 지내고 있는 방인데 이쪽 보시면 침대에 이렇게 두실
네.
수 있으시고요.
아, 이게 다 옵션이, 이게 다.
네, 옵션입니다.
야, 이 사람도 피규어 좋아하네요.
그렇죠.
이런 거는 좋거든요. 저도 피규어를 하니까.
네. 네.
아, 근데 이게 수납 공간을 구조에 비해서는 잘 뺀 것 같은데 조금 더 있으면 좋겠거든요.
조금 더 넓었으면 좋겠다. 그러면 조금
예.
더 럭셔리하고 좀 넓은 방으로 가볼까요?
예, 조금 더 넓은 데 한번 보죠.
제가 사실 이제 상국 씨 TV에서 많이 뵀었는데
예, 예.
제가 이제 상국 씨 유행어가 있잖아요.
예.
그 중에서도 좀 나대지 마라 뭐 요거
예.
네.
이거 황막궁디를 쭉 잡을까? 예.
뭐 이런 느낌으로.
예를 들어서 태호가
네.
또 집을 보러 왔으면
네.
뭐 별로라 이러면 뭐 아이고 태호야 시골집을 보면 웃잖아 서울집을 봐야지 약간 뭐 그런 느낌이죠.
아, 요 집이세요?
외관부터가 좀 좋아 보이는데.
그렇죠. 들어가시죠.
아,
어떠세요?
여기도 조금 좁은 느낌이 드는데?
그렇다고 하시면
네.
자, 문 열어보겠습니다.
뭐예요, 문요?
이렇게 숨겨진 공간이 하나 더 있어요.
오, 여기 또 침실이 있구나.
네.
이 안은 또 뭐예요? 여기는 지금 드레스룸이죠? 진짜 잘 돼 있다. 이게 뭐 구석구석에 이런 거 수납하는 공간이 다 많네, 엄청.
네, 수납 공간. 그리고 그거 한번 눌러보세요. 네, 눌러보시면
이야, 트랜스포머네.
이 집은
예.
보시다시피 계단이 있죠?
아,
네,
예.
복층이 있는데 한번 올라가 보실까요?
근데 이게,
네.
야 여기 좁은 복층이 아니네요.
네, 맞죠.
거의 이거는 방이 하나 더 있는 수준이네요.
그리고 숨겨진 공간이 하나 더 있어요.
우와. 야, 이거는 뭐 개인 공간이에요?
그렇죠.
그럼 여기는 진짜 여름에 바베큐 파티 이런 거 하면 진짜 좋겠다.
네, 어떠셨어요, 이 방은?
너무 마음에 들어요.
아, 그래요?
너무 마음에 드니까 저희가 여기 좀 더 있을게요. 지금 가시고, 네, 저는 여기가 가시면 됩니다. 네, 가셔도 되고 네, 일단 가요.
나갔을까요?
아니 나 이거 살 거라니까 이제 내 집이야. 이제 내 집이야. 이제 내 집이야.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ASL Team Battle, of course sponsored by Dabang and Hiri, making us all wish we were baseball bats.
That's right.
It is right, Wolf.
100%. Not a man out there wishing it was on a baseball bat right now.
Or bubblegum.
Sure. Now it's time for our 2v2. It's going to be Rush and Mind. And we talked about how this is going to be the kind of advantage side with them playing their normal races. And Sak going to be off racing as Zerg here with Bisu. So they're going to be off racing a little bit. No random going into this mix as Zerg versus Zerg is banned. So we sometimes see players try to roll into it because you can't just like restart the game if they random Zerg. So there's like that extra chance, but you're really playing with fire with that. So most people don't try it, but we've seen a few times already people try it and also get it.
Yeah, no,
or
double
flash.
Yeah, or flash. Ugh. Well, let's not go there. So, double Zerg is very, 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 very strong in 2v2 because you can put on insane early pressure and really most likely kill a dude. So instead of doing random to get that double Zerg, which is banned, you can't pick double Zerg in 2v2 because it's just so strong. Instead of doing that, both of our teams tonight will be picking their other race. Bisu will be playing Protoss, as you would expect, and Mind on the other side will be playing Terran, also as you'd expect. So the one sort of like question mark for me is Sak, his Terran teammate, who will be off racing as Zerg. We saw the greatest Terran of all time, Flash, off race as Zerg, and it looked bad at 2v2. So,
well, yeah. I mean, in Flash's defense, he got Zerg rushed really hard. He definitely had some issues there. Not as comfortable with defending that type of rush, but I think this is going to be probably a better game from Sak. He's got a strong teammate here, main racing Bisu, but he's coming off a loss, so that's always the awkward thing about this when you go into the 2v2.
Yeah, and so this is the point at which two of our ASL team battles have ended in 3-0 sweeps. So it will fall to, I guess, Brittany to be their cheerleader as they come out here and cheer on the rest of Team Mind against Bisu, who I think is going to be looking pretty good.
I think Bisu should be able to recover pretty easily from that loss. Of course, he's a player who's played so many finals, so many big tournaments in front of crowds much larger than this in Brood War's prime. Like I said, he played in all eras. He won tournaments in all eras. He has 15 premier titles. 15. Okay, yeah, not Star League wins, but important tournaments, you know, abroad even as well. And it's hard to say who's favored in this 2v2, to be honest, because 2v2 has a lot of extraneous factors like spawn locations, off racing, and sometimes the random factor. We're not having that today. And I really can't say one way or the other, but whoever wins this will, you know, of course, take match points. It's not going to end our best of three as we are tied up.
Every time somebody says it'll take match point, I'm just like, oh, the map, right? It's like, no, we don't play that map anymore.
We don't play that map
It was a pretty good map, but so yeah, for today's game, it's also going to be really interesting to see how it works out because it's played on a UMS version of Hunters, which is newer than the one I used to play on way back in the day. This is not big game Hunters, so there's no extra minerals anywhere. This is just like the regular but updated version of the map. So let's go ahead and get into our 2 versus 2. Rush and Mind taking on Bisu and Sa. What happened to that command center?
Hacks! Hacks!
Well, there are literally hacks. So what happens is, because this is a UMS, that stands for Use Map Setting, it's a special way to set up this map so that we can observe it, which was not native to Brood War when it came out. So the way that works is, this map is set up so that the observers spawn as a Terran, the command center lifts off, and all of their stuff disappears. So that lets us be in the game and observe the game, but not actually, you know, have an effect on that. So we're going to actually hold off on naming exactly which players are where until the overlay comes up on the screen.
Yeah, because it can be a bit confusing.
It can be very confusing to keep a track of everyone. So let's go over the teams. So Rush is the purple Zerg player in the upper right-hand corner, and
of course, Mind will be to the top left, of course, in yellow, so their teammates spawning on the same location here. Oh, he wasn't sleeping, even though he's got the sunglasses on.
That's me in my physics class, man. I just put my mask on. It's like, I can have this, right? And put my sunglasses on. It's like, I just had my eyes dilated. And then I just fall asleep in class. Sick of
That's how you do it, man, because you were playing Brood War all night. That's my life, too, man.
Oh, my God. All right, so we've got both of our Team Mind players on the top half of the map, the Team Bisu players on the bottom half of the map.
That's right. Bisu's bottom center and Sock bottom left.
Okay.
So this map, just to give a history, you know, I'm sure you guys have probably talked a lot about it already, but it's the map that's probably the most popular in Korea. Like, if you see a group of people in a PC bong playing Brood War, they're probably playing team games on this map.
Yeah,
it's insanely popular. In the West, Big Game Hunters was much more popular because it had more money, and you know, the game was, you know, basically accelerated as a result.
Yeah, so you just played with, you know, you got 7 of your other friends together, you booted up the LAN, which this game does have, and you just like got together, had those good old LAN parties on Big Game Hunters, had quite a few of those.
Yeah, this is one of the maps that like taught me how to build things and, you know, make walls.
Oh my God.
It's a lot of fond memories for me on this one.
Okay, so this is actually really interesting. Going for an in-base hatchery here as well as everything else. Building an early hatchery is really strange, at least for me to see. I don't think I've seen that quite yet. Because there are so many points in this early game where you can actually just die. And so some real eyes going to be pointed at guys like Sock, who is off racing here. And of course, Brittany, he knows that some shenanigans might be happening here. Already that early SCV, which you really need with your Marines, because Marines suck.
Okay, so this is basically like, a very rush-oriented game in 2v2. So you see the SCVs out here, the Marines suck, as you said. So the SCVs need a buffer. You want it the other way. The Marines need to be behind the SCVs, generally speaking. But yeah. So the Zergling's going to come out here to protect them. And they need to get them down here to help protect this lone zealot. He's got 2 gates, so 3 zealots here, trying to kind of sandwich these Zerglings here.
Yeah, so what you'll notice going up behind this is a depot, and that's to try to block out or make it easier to deal with these Zerglings by having extra terrain to get behind. So you can see great positioning by Mind with his Marines. So I said Marines suck. That means that they're not great units on their own, but when you have blockers in front of them, I mean, obviously they build free damage. So
okay, he's going to tight wall this, which is really cool. So now the Marine's going to try to fire over. He's trying to kind of lock him in here. But he needs to actually get the Zerglings up here. The Zealots are a bit slower to come over on the right side. This is actually kind of a crazy scenario here. It's a good trade in terms of the Lings here, but he needs to actually wipe out these Zealots. They're doing too much work here. Several of them very low. Good micro, actually, on these Zealots by Bisu. Oh, but here come more Marines.
Yeah, better micro here on the Marines, getting insane value with so much to buffer for them, whether it's SCVs or Zerglings, and Mind's Marines survive.
And he gets that barracks up again to wall these Zerglings, so this is really frustrating right now as the Zerglings, blue Zerglings here of Sok can't actually get out of this base right now. Zealots again to buffer, but he's going to lose this barracks fairly soon. Probe's coming off the line here. He really wants to break this, and they finally, looks like, will here. Look at that SCV buffer. More Lings coming down.
Oh my god. Mind's Marines controls are actually microing out of his mind, trying to avoid getting hit there, but ultimately there are too many probes and Zerglings, which will eventually push back Team Mind's forces.
So, you know, it was kind of a bloodbath here as the dust settles, though. Ling speed is done now for Sok.
Oh.
And
Pulling
he's
those
moving across.
Probes was actually might have tipped the balance in favor of Bisu's team. So Bisu is the orange Protoss. He's got all these Zealots up here with Sok, who has the blue Zerglings, which will probably be coming up to join here in just a little bit. Notice the pathing from Sok's base to join up with these Zealots is actually an insanely long path to take through the middle of the map.
So imagine each one of these units could be controlled individually. So what we're seeing here from Mind is actually incredibly impressive, but it's still not enough to stop the onslaught here. Bisu's rallying Zealots across, and Sok is actually zoning Rush out of the battle. So this is looking really good now for Team Bisu as they come into the main base of Mind. And again, these Lings of Sok, once they finally broke out here, just going to zone Mind away. And he doesn't have a lot of Marines, you know, and they need support, like you said. If he pulls too many SVs, he's going to lose them. They're just going to type out, GG,
wow.
That was just too much.
Wow.
And it all came down to that fight. They really committed to holding that location, and they got broke. And that probe pull was what broke the back of that push. Then he didn't have enough Marines, not enough stability there. No wall, no bunker, and the Zealots come in. You've got the Blue Lings of Sok to zone rush out, and they just wiped Mind off the map there.
Yeah, this was not Mind time, guys. He winds up losing that game, and I say it almost every broadcast, probes are the best unit in the game. Knowing exactly when he needed to pull those probes, add those extra units to the battle, because, you know, you want to be mining with all of your workers, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to just pull them all off, but in the early game, especially in 2v2, where it's so aggressive, just having that influx of extra units completely turned the tides of what was a great push that Mind and his teammate were pushing out with, and
yeah, Rush there.
Yeah,
Mind and Rush with the Rush. No pun intended.
Mind and Rush with the Rush. Yeah.
But you know,
so wow.
The thing about this kind of micro too is that it's a two-sided thing. It's not like, oh, minus a micro per player, they lose this. Bisu also microed his weakened Zealots back consistently well, allowed them to regen shields, which Marines cannot do. Regen shields, bring those probes into buffer, and eventually those Marines lose their buffer and they get the kill.
And that'll take us into our 4th game on Outsider. It's going to be Rush taking on Sok. Coming up next in tonight's ASL Team Battle.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 이런 나쁜 말 들어본 적 있어?
모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보.
다방면으로 보자. 다방.
요즘 디지털 하도 그러니까 더 이상 새로울 게 없잖아요. 근데 이거는 좀 달라요. 알고리즘. 이거 참 재밌대. 디지털 현대카드.
빛의 힘을 보여드리죠.
반갑네.
힘을 빌려줘. 누구도 나를 막을 순 없어. 방해하겠다면 전부 부숴주지. 판타지 마스터즈 2.
저런 냄새가 당이야 당. 된장찌개 저런 냄새가.
하면 뭐다? 너 냄새 난다고.
베브리즈 맨으로 남자 5대 냄새 파괴. 베브리즈 맨.
마음이 가는 대로 즐겁고 신나게 쓰자. 캠퍼스 시리즈.
김대리 커피.
예.
어이. 야, 어깨 좀 졸라봐.
지키건 지키자.
겨울 가장 지키고 싶은 RPG 수호 삼국지.
지금까지 방구하러 가서 나쁘다는 말 들어본 적 있어? 모두가 쉬쉬해온 방에 대한 나쁜 정보. 다방면으로 보자. 다방.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to what could be our final game of this ASL team battle. We're sponsored by Dabang. Our final, possibly final matchup, we'll pit this guy. His name is Rush. He's relatively new Terran. You can see he did make it into the round of 16 for our second ASL, but unfortunately not much past there.
Yeah, he's rocking the same haircut HOT forever wore when he lost to Guillaume in the first OSL finals, but this guy has very few notable results. He's an ex-CJ Entis player. He got scouted super late in the Kespa era. Most of what this guy is known for, where he's got a name for himself, is in the post-Kespa era in like 2015 online tournaments. Whereas Sog actually is similarly known, but actually won a Sonic Star League, a big major one, on stage over at OGN. So he's actually much more accomplished in recent times. Did make it to the round of 8 in Season 1 of ASL. And he's the big favorite going into this TVT, but maybe Rush can pull an upset off here to force that final game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how well Rush does. Rush definitely lives up to his name. He is all about these early game aggression. Terran, maybe not the race that you might think of, but Sock, he is the hope for his team. One win away from bringing this home. So let's go ahead and get into our fourth match on Outsider in the ASL team battle. Here we are, spawning in the 9 o'clock position as the orange Terran player. This is Rush.
His opponent to the bottom right in blue is Sock, the Sonic Star League 10 champion.
And this will be a TVT.
That's right. And he won that very championship against Last, another Terran that, if you're a Brood War fan, you're probably very familiar with. He's also got very good TVT. You know, it's interesting to see. We've moved into this new era. You know, I like to call it like postmodern Brood War, but it's this new era where you have players that accomplish things, but were never superstars. Actually, on the front lines of this new resurgence, where you've got Rush and Sock, and if you ask, you know, someone when Sock was on SKT for about 3 years, who he was, most people would tell you, I've never heard of him, but now he's won a title, and you know, he's here in the ASL team battle, and he might actually just close things out here for Bisu's team. It's cool to see how we're advancing, because this is always the thing that excited me most about this resurgence of Brood War. Is it's cool to see the old faces, the big names, the dragons, etc. But those guys are getting older, they're coaching now and things like that. I want to see the players that are still young and the players that came in at the end of Brood War, and then Kespa, you know, dropped Pro League and things like that. Now they're in this new era. They have experience, but they are not superstars yet to become superstars, to become famous, and to build a name for themselves. And that's where I feel like both these players are at. Sock's already won a title, but he's still not, you know, world-renowned for being a top-tier Terran player like, say, Flash is, or even Mind.
All right, so mirrored builds for both players. We'd have Barracks timing very similar, a little bit of an early refinery for Rush. So Sock actually going for the same exact build, but just a little bit behind on his timings. Not that will actually matter too much. What will actually matter maybe a little bit more is going to be this the structure of this map. So where you can see the scouting SCV going right now, that's going to pass right by the natural expansion. So everybody gets a natural, but these are low ground naturals outside of your base. And they're also expanding out onto the open center of the map, which once it gets revealed has this really cool like swirly effect in there. There's a logo from some game that looks exactly like it, the lava pattern in the middle, but I can't remember for the life of me what it is. But either way, it's a 3-player map, so you do have a greater chance of scouting your opponent. That's not quite the path you want to take with your probe, Rush, but he will get there eventually. I think maybe he's trying to like hide the, I said probe, but I meant SCV. Sure. Maybe he's trying to hide it off to the side.
He's got a plan with that. I'm not entirely sure. He's going to send the second one in the normal scouting pattern. Sock will, of course, see this and, aha, he doesn't know where I am. Because he's going to the top right. They're going to pass each other. He's going to get into the base. We'll see this. Interesting.
What
that second SCV has got to be for either building a proxy or for some sort of delayed scout. I doubt this is a mistake or a miss rally. I mean, it is technically possible. Okay, here's
there it is.
Proxy factory. So he's going to do 2-fact here, and he's going to do a cheesy rush. As you said, this is what he's most known for, is aggressive play.
Yep. He, I don't think, I've seen this guy play like 3 times, I think, professionally, and he has rushed every single one of them. So definitely a little bit weird. But also, speaking of weirdness, Wolf, Sock throwing down double starports.
So 2-port Wraith.
It could actually just get scouted right here.
Gonna come in here, get that scout off. It's got a tight wall here, unfortunately. It looks like it's not a tight wall. I was actually thrown off there for a second. I'm like, oh wait, this is Bruder. Of course it's a tight wall. So you're not going to see this. You know what's interesting is the units he's going to try to rush with can't really deal with Wraiths all too well. Was it really 2 star? Okay, it is 2 starports, yeah. So
2 starports.
I'm like, is this real? Okay, it's real. He scouts this, which is super huge, and now he knows, okay, I just need to defend to get my Wraiths out, and I should be fine. And he's going to have a huge edge. So this is looking pretty solid for Sock, especially because you can see this. He sees the machine shop being built here as well. Cancels the second starport because he just wants to have enough money to make a bunker here, get his own tanks out.
Yeah, he does need to defend against that, and he knows that if he just gets 1 Wraith out, that will actually be pretty huge, because you can kill Infinity Vultures with 1 Wraith.
Yeah, he doesn't need really the 2 starports. It's tough to even afford that right now when you're making somebody use to defend. The SCV going down here is a bit of a problem too. You know, obviously the bunker can't quite reach the the units that are attacking these supply depots, but it's just going to buy him time. We do see it's going to be 2 tanks. Ooh, nice block here. This is nice. Okay, denies this.
Wow, that could have actually been so huge. Now, Rush does not know about the Wraith. Now it will be revealed, and so this is really going to put a wrench in Rush's plans.
Okay, he's going to just go ahead and try to eliminate this anti-air. I believe we saw just a moment ago that Rush did start an armory, though, so we'll have Goliaths to follow this up. This Wraith may just go home for a repair job. He wants to go scout a little bit more first. Yeah, the armory's going to finish here, so he still has 2 factories. He can make Goliaths to help deal with this Wraith, but the initial strong point of this rush, I feel like, has really been hurt. And, siege mode's going to be done here for Sock, so this is not going to be an easy transition right now for Rush. We can get out of this, but it's going to be rough.
This is really weird. This is basically the Brood War version of a 1-1-1 build, which was just basically not a build, especially not in this matchup. Usually you want to go up to factory tech and just build a bunch of those. But either way, it's actually kind of interesting to see the strengths that these somewhat quote-unquote failed rushes give each player. For Rush, that means he's got the early factory production, but for Sock, that does mean that he has these 2 raids, which are going to have pretty much impunity.
Yeah, I mean, there's 1 Goliath already. He got an early academy because he wanted to get the Comsat station to be able to scout them, assuming that they would have Cloak. And they're just going to come in here and harass. And this is the impunity you're talking about. Yeah, there's a Goliath here, but they can just kind of out-micro that, out-maneuver that, target down that earlier SCV. Looks like he lost track of it there. There's no hit point bars in Brood War for you to actually track that. You got to keep track of it with your eyes. Gets that one. And we'll get away here. And it looks like Rush is just going to attempt to contain right now.
Okay, now this is one of the features I was talking about on Outsider. If you wrap around the back side of your base, there's a mineral-only wall. There's several of those walls positioned around the map. There's 2 on each side. And what you can do is you can build on the mineral-only side and mine it, or you can glitch or drop an SCV through the minerals, and there's 2 gas geysers on the other side, which is a really big deal in Brood War because you only get 1 of those per base. So now we're going to see the map transition to what should be more air-based, and there are these big plateaus right outside by your natural where you can do things like these siege tank drops, which do hit command centers.
It forces the cancel immediately. There's just no way you can hold on to that. There's not much he can do to contest it either. He has this, somewhat controlled position, this contain outside of Sock's base, but as you mentioned, with the base already up there to the top rightish of Sock's base, I don't know exactly describe that, like the 4 o'clock. He's already going to take an eco lead, and he doesn't feel too threatened by that contain, quote-unquote, that's outside of his main base. Now, another drop heading over, and Sock is basically just avoiding this contain, outmaneuvering it because he has air control with the Wraith, so something that can be done to stop this. And this is looking like a rough spot for Rush. I'm not sure how he's going to recover from this one. Getting a Wraith here would be nice. He does get one.
Wow.
Sock's like, ooh, that hurts.
Yeah, definitely want to get the control a little bit better there. But denying this outer natural and forcing it to be back in the back of the base really hurts the factory advantage that Rush had, because you want to be pumping tanks out of there. And if you take this base, well, it's gasless, so you won't be able to build quite as many tanks. And
well,
you can do this.
If you can take it, that is even. In this case, he will not be able to. The Goliaths are coming over to try to deny vision, so these siege tanks can't see this, but Sock should have a comset scanner here fairly soon too, and look, even kills one of the Goliaths. It's really unfortunate that he lost that dropship, but he has Wraiths as well. Like, there's just no way he stops this. He has to cancel it again, and this means he's locked into one base once more. Oh, this is looking disastrous.
Now, earlier on in this map's lifespan, what I kind of mentioned, actually faster siege here for Sock, and he will be able to take out every one of those tanks, both of them going down.
And the Goliath as well, and he had vision because he had that Wraith,
wow.
And Rush didn't have vision until the siege tanks fired, so I mean, this is just going from bad to worse right now for Rush. He's got no foothold in this game whatsoever.
And you can really see the evolution of this map. You know, if you remember when it first came out, a lot of players were going for these safe, you know, double gas expansions because you could get access to them very early on. But one of the things that players found out is that, well, you know, if you just have air control, you can actually just take control of an insane amount of this map because of how little of it is accessible by ground.
And that's why Sock went for a Wraith build.
Yep.
He was going to go double port. Didn't need it. Only needed one to help defend that attack. Now, finally, for the first time, Rush will be able to find some damage here. We'll also scout that Sock has a third command center finished and ready to go, whereas he's canceled 3 himself, building his, you know, 4th pretty soon, I imagine. Another one being made here for Sock. Now, he takes control of this from behind, and he has the one Goliath here. I'm not entirely sure how many raids Sock has left. He may just be able to burst this down.
This is going to be a
control.
rough spot, but yeah, like you said, the vision control is going to be the really big deal. Nice repair, but it's not enough. And here come the Wraiths to try to even the score. But wow, that's actually a really entrenched position for Rush.
Yeah, it's tough to actually get in there and control that. He's going to save the CC, of course, but getting past this is going to call. He's going to, you know, require him to kill that Goliath. More Goliaths coming across, going to make this difficult. Gets the dropship. That's one important tool for vision to control this.
It's going to make it harder to get those units across the map and to respond. There's another dropship here coming out just to save these 2 tanks on the high grounder. I actually do think it has stuff in it, so we'll see exactly what is in store. Does it?
We'll never know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, this attack does stop the mining, and Sock is going to actually break out of his main base, as you guys can see on the minimap, so he can relocate that to another mining location. Meanwhile, this attack here just is going to be Wraith-based, as you can see, and he has Cloak finally.
Oh, wow.
Going to retreat during the scan.
Cloak really big, will force out those scans. You can just fly away. Raids are pretty fast. This game actually reminds me a lot of StarCraft 2 TVT, because instead of Vikings, you're going to have these raids out just for air superiority, because you can do this and just snipe off these dropships, so there's no way to really get your army through the mineral walls or around the map onto this high ground.
The extra damage these raids do as well, he's going to at least make this a 2-for-2 trade on the tanks. And he takes this base. He's had it up much longer. So imagine, Sock has mined from the base that he lost control of for a long time. Rush didn't have that base, the same top left base that was denied from him. And he just finally got this base up, and it's not an advantage for him because Sock just relocated his base to the base right outside his main. He's going to kill these units here for free as well. This is, again, just pretty disastrous right now for Rush. I mean, that tank, the 2-for-2 tank trade was the best trade he's ever had this game. It was the best thing to ever happen to him, essentially. As he's just been dominated in this game. He's been out of funds, or not out of funds, but just out-mined by Sock. So Sock has a better economy. He has had a better economy. He's mined more money overall.
And even though Rush was able to shut down mining at that mineral-only base, that's not kind of a good thing for Sock, because now he actually has a base with the gas at it at his natural. So I think Sock at least is sitting pretty, at this point in the game. Even his Rays not really challenged too much by these Goliaths. I mean, they'll be pushed back, so oh no, big scary thing. A little bit of a whiff scan there in the middle of the map as well. But all that to say is that I really like Sock's early choice to go for this double start port. Even though he only did 1, you really saw that get him a big advantage. Is he building 3 command centers at the same time?
He is, and in Terran versus Terran, it's hard to, even even with a pressing advantage in units and economy, it's hard to end games, so you'll just take control of the entire map like this, especially when you have air control with Wraiths, which is why the base to the bottom left is very risky for Rush, because the Wraiths will, if they patrol around, find it eventually, and it's going to be hard for him to even get SCVs over. It looks like he might be faring with a dropship right now to the bottom left, but yeah, I mean, this base, if he gets away with it, is basically what he needs. He has to take a risk like this, or eventually he's just going to find himself ground out of this game. Look at this siege up. He's just going to make a line of tanks. He wants to choke him out of the game like an anaconda as he powers up factories with all his extra bases. SCV's transferring over now. He's got so much mining, but he's going to explode. He was already ahead. But he's going to really Artosis this game in a second.
Yeah, no, that's definitely what is happening here. You don't see too many triple command center builds. Somewhere on there, out there on the internet, there's a guy that's just like, oh yeah, this is the part where he goes into 3CCs. I don't know, these guys didn't know that. I was like, well, no, that actually just never happens. But it's a great way to, like you said, get more ahead and really just make sure there's actually no way to lose this game.
It's just so hard to kill a Terran in TVT when you're ahead because he's got defensive siege tanks in better position than you, so you have to attack into that. You need an overwhelming amount of units in order to do that. So instead of just trying to crash in and give Rush a chance to get back in this game, he's just going to control the entire map, and he's going to choke him out. It's going to, eventually, if he crashes enough units through, he will win because he has more money and he will just replace them. For Rush right now, he's lucky he's got that base of the bottom left up unscouted so far, so that's extra mining he has. He's still behind in mining, of course. That's one thing he's got going for him. And perhaps he can do a sneaky drop or, you know, somehow win a positive exchange against Sock's army. He's going to need to do something because basically Sock's not making any mistakes right now. He's not giving him any chances.
I don't think Rush does realize, or Sock does realize that Rush has the bottom left-hand base. It is a mineral only, but it's still a mining base for him. Actually, wait, no, it's not.
It's
okay,
got gas,
yeah, corner bases have gas, but the mineral onlys by the mains do not. But here come these Rays. They will snipe this dropship off 3 volleys, and down it goes. And that means that with no turrets up to protect these SCVs, this base will not be mining for very much longer.
I used that drop to ferry the SCVs in here, and now they can't get out because there's siege tanks out there.
They're trapped in here with me.
They're trapped in here with the Wraiths. The Wraiths cloaked, they don't even need to. The SCVs can't even see their attackers. Looks like he's going to bring some Goliaths over, but this dropship of tanks coming in here is going to even help support this. This base is seriously in trouble. Rush is doing his best to save it. It looks like he will finally stave off part of the Wraith attack. He's going to lose this comset scanner. He's forced to lift. This is just salt on the wounds for Rush now. Is what he doesn't even realize is that the entire top right of the map is taken by Sock.
Man, there's salt on the wounds, salt on the keyboard, salt all over.
PJ Salt in the Twitch chat.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if it's not there, it is there now, Wolf. That's for sure. And you want to count the number of mining bases here for Sock? He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases up right now versus basically 2.5 for Rush. So, yikes. Also doing a great job limiting the number of dropships that are out there, sniping them off with Rays, but there are a couple headed up here towards the top half of the map.
Ooh, he needs to drop those out before the turret finishes. Looks like SCVs will be killed here at this base. And actually the turret does not finish in time. So he was, you know, this is the kind of thing he could have been doing earlier, but he just didn't know what was happening.
Rays is coming up now, and that should be enough to take this out. Even if these SCVs do go down, I mean, Sock just has way too many, and he can replace them, you know, I don't know the ratio, but much faster than Rush can.
He doesn't even need to siege up his tanks to win this exchange. Gonna just knock these down, split up a little bit here, and that's the end of this story. I mean, look, he did some damage. That was, again, one of the things I have to say, like, okay, he was able to do this and that. Oh, he's going to just either mass Wraiths here or potentially even go BCs because he has this huge lead and he can just start eventually whittling things down. Notice the blue dots that you see around his main and his natural for Rush. He's just making a turret ring all across the map. He's going to break this. A very small victory here as he holds onto this base, but he needs more than that. Look at all these turrets. Eventually, he's not even going to be able to drop or harass or find any way out.
Wow. Yeah, this is certainly a difficult spot for Rush to be in. Economically, militarily, ecumenically, I don't know. Lots of ways in which he is behind, but look at that tank line.
This actually may just be the point where he has to type out. I mean, he's going to lose control of this natural base now. Scans just allowing him to siege forward. It's not efficient here for Sock, but like I said, he's got so much more money. He's got so many more tanks. It just simply doesn't matter. He also has vision control as there's less comsat scanners for Rush. He doesn't have any air units here. The Wraiths weren't even needed to push this forward. He's just using scans alone. And, I mean, this is basically the end of the road, I'd say, for Rush. he can't somehow turn this around with a miraculous drop or, I mean, I'm really grasping at straws of what he could potentially do here. Look at all the scans that Sock has to check everything. He's looking for that drop. Are you going to try to drop on top of my tanks? Where are the drop ships? Which is what Rush's last chances here. He's got all these units lifted in drop ships, but with all the Wraiths here, it's going to be such a challenge. Look at the tank count. Look at the tank count.
You look at the tank count. Well, yeah, there's no supplies, so we can't look at that. So tank count's about as close as you can get. And now even just unsieging, moving forward, he doesn't even need to re-siege his tanks. He has such an overwhelming advantage. And Sock just critical mass being reached here as he crushes the natural expansion from Rush. And with it, potentially his hopes of staying in this match.
There's those drops. Here come the Wraiths. They're on the chase. He's going to get the drop. Most of these are going to get out, I'd say.
Well, we'll see how many do make it out. He's going to unload the majority of that, but these Wraiths should be able to take. Well, they're not targeting the drop ships, and the Wraiths do not do well against Goliath.
Well, the point here is like Rush is like, I got your Wraiths. I lost the game. He's going to type out. That is going to end our team series here. Sock is going to win it for Team Bisu 3-1. There's finally more Wraiths come up. He didn't go BCs.
I think he flickered his Wraiths there at the end, too, which is something you do just to add a little bit more flair. And there it is. Sock coming out with a very well thought out early strategy. Had the air advantage and really used that to a great, to get himself into a great position on that map outsider.
He had so many scans. Rush got the hidden base at the bottom left, actually was hidden for a long time. He was able to defend it after all. He lost his comms that scare to live for a while, but he held on to that, so he was on 3 bases, which he could make a lot of units with. Unfortunately, though, his opponent had the entire map. He had all those comms and scares I was talking about, which constantly were able to verify where the drops were. The only way that siege tank line gets broken is perhaps, I mean, it would have been pretty facetious to even imagine that working, but dropping units on top of the tanks, all those Goliaths, the Wraiths were there to deny that. He was constantly scanning it, and even when he went for the drop to the top right, it was just much too little too late. And Sock just controlled that game off of economy alone.
Yeah, that triple command center timing, that's what I'm going to be replicating in all of my games, that's for sure. But either way, we're going to welcome both teams up here to the stage. Well, that's what they did yesterday. This time they're just doing it one by one. Okay, yeah, I think they were supposed to do it.
They were just too hyped about their win. They had to come up a little bit late.
Yeah, you got to spread the high fives. Some nice handshakes all around. And of course, all of these players, you'll see them all on guys like Brittany's stream. They're all big fans,
oh, they're
big
all
friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you'll be able to watch any of the players who's impressed you tonight. You'll be able to watch their personal streams, even maybe just tonight. So let's go ahead and look at our match results from today.
Just to recap, Brittany, some poor Reaver control costs him the first PvP. Mind plays an incredible game against Bisu. It's tight defense. Bisu tries to tech the Reavers, fails to find damage, and Mind just controls the map. In our team battle, Rush and Mind had a really unique strategy where they tried to wall Sock's Zerg in and win a 2v1 versus Bisu, but they couldn't hold him back. They win that fight with some probes, and in our last game of the night, you guys just watched. I'm not going to recap it on Outsider. Sock takes the win. And this means that Team Bisu will advance to our semifinals here, the round of 4.
Yep. So starting out with 8 teams going down to 4. It's single elimination teams, so Brittany, Mind, and Rush are all eliminated from today's team battle. But in the round of 4, it's going to be double elimination. So if you do see your favorite team lose there, well, they're going to stay alive at least one more time. So congratulations to Team Bisu. They do advance, and that means that we will be heading over to an interview.
That's right.
Victorious team.
And key factor here is a lot of people I know are sad that Jaedong did not have the chance to play because he has his wrist injury. But look, Mind carried his weight, won his game against Bisu, and
did.
Give this guy some credit. He absolutely is a fantastic Tyrant and is really, really smart.
And that is going to take us over to our interview with Team Bisu. See what they have to say about today's game.
박수원 타이슨 오늘 브리트니와 경기 펼치는 게 사실상 좀 부담이 됐을 텐데 이 경기 좀 어떤 마음가짐으로 경기 임하셨습니까?
So how was your match against Brittany first? What did you think about that?
근데 상대가 봉준이라서 제가 할 것만 하면 이긴다.
I was really nervous, but because my opponent was Brittany, it kind of helped me with my mentality.
어떤 느낌 받으셨는지요?
저는 봉준이가 그런 플레이 할 줄 몰라가지고 비셔틀인 줄 알았어요.
So I didn't expect Brittany to be playing, actually.
손이 꼬였거든요. 근데
They're talking about the certain units. So he didn't expect Brittany to be playing the Reaver style.
이럴 것이다, 저럴 것이다, 뭐 은퇴를 할 것이다, 뭐 이런 썰들이 많았었는데 오늘 만약에 졌다면 어떤 생각을 갖고
there were a lot
경기를 치러줬나요?
rumors around you that you might be retiring or that you might stop playing StarCraft. So what do you think about those rumors?
그럼 다시 한번 이거 승리 축하드리고 그 이어서 김태경 선수. 오늘
So yeah, I never actually thought that I was going to lose the match against Brittany. So I just focused on winning the game. The rumors were that he would retire if he lost against Brittany, but he just focused and played his best. So moving on to Bisu, did you expect to win today?
기가 막힌 기적의 판단이 한번 나왔고 박수범 선수의 있음으로써 좀 힘이 되는 그런 부분들에 대해 장점에 대해서
So he says that he thought that if Tyson won the game, then we would win the whole game. And it went kind of the way that we expected. He said that, talking about his teammate Tyson and why he chose him, he said, I think Tyson can beat anyone. He says he actually didn't pick Tyson intentionally. He said just somehow before I was thinking about which players to choose for my team members, they seemed like pretty good letters. What? So that's why I picked. They seemed pretty good on the ladder, I guess. Yeah. So some viewers apparently have been saying that you guys have not been getting along well or fighting a lot. What do you guys have to say about that? Bisu saying, oh, that's not really true. Maybe just a viewer that watched our stream thought that we were fighting, but that's not really the case.
처음에 엄청 제가 좋았는데 손이 안 움직여가지고 너무 오래 끄는 것 같아요. 그래가지고.
So now let's finally talk with Sok. So what did you think about the game that you played? So I thought I could have ended the game much earlier, but it went much longer than I expected. So what's your goal with this team, Sok?
올라갈 것 같아가지고.
So I expected that we could make it to the next round. As long as Tyson can come to the studio, then we can make it to the next round. So what's your goal in this team battle?
2등 목표로 해야죠.
2등으로요? 네, 알겠습니다. 오늘 멋진 경기 보여주셔서 감사드리고 앞으로.
So I think some other tournament might win the tournament. So our goal right now is to be runner-up. So congratulations to our team Bisu for his Bisu-rific victory. Well, actually, he didn't win, but his team won, so that's all that matters.
He did have that pretty impressive probe hold against the choke out on the Sok Zerg there, but ended up winning it in the end. Sok playing a really nice TVT. I feel like maybe perhaps understanding Outsider. I don't know how that struggled to come out of my mouth. Understanding Outsider a little bit better.
He outstood Undersider, Wolf.
Yeah. He understood the map better and used that to his advantage to hold off that rush. And, you know, if it wasn't even a rush, I feel like he probably would have taken control from his Wraith build alone, to be honest with you, Rapid.
Yeah, if he had just committed to those double starports, had like twice as many Wraiths, that would have actually been insane to watch. But let's go ahead and take a look at our dual tournament format coming up in our round of 4. So you can see our teams. It's going to be Team Flash versus Team Best, and I Am Mong versus Team Bisu. So these matches will be coming up at the beginning of next month.
That's right. So that's, I believe, next week, actually. 7 p.m. on Saturday, 8 p.m. on Sunday. And then, of course, the winners and loser matches, you can see there at the bottom. Our finals will be on March 18th at 7 p.m. here at the Freak Up Studio. So if you're in Seoul, come down. We're near Samsung Station, Exit 1. Pretty close, pretty easy to find. And we'd love to have you guys down here witness the resurgence of Brood War with us. It's been fun to cast StarCraft again. It's been a long time for me. And doing StarCraft 1, I mean, it was kind of my original game, and I love it. It's been fun. I like casting it with you.
It has been really fun. And in case you're wondering why Tasteless or Artosis are not here to cast this, they are on a plane. I think they're actually now on the ground in Poland for IEM World Championship at Katowice. So definitely make sure to check them and check that out this weekend, or this coming week, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But it's certainly been really fun to be here, fun to cast with you as well, Wolf. pretty cool games. And I hope you guys have been enjoying the resurgence of Brood War here on Afrika TV. It's been a pleasure to get the chance to see these guys play in a team format together.
Yeah, it certainly has been a lot of fun, and it's going to be happening a lot more, as you guys probably have started to figure out. We're seeing these leagues popping up. Like, it was just the ASL, then it was ASL Season 2, big finals with the GSL, and you've got it's going and going, Team League, and it's getting bigger, so there's going to be a lot more Brood War for you guys to watch in the future.
Yep, really exciting time to be alive and also to be a fan of Brood Wars. So big thanks to everybody out there for coming out and tuning in to tonight's broadcast. We will see you again next weekend. So thanks for watching. Have a good night.
I've been waiting for my life to change.